You're watching NFL Daily. I am Tom Downey. Alongside me is Chase Sr. as we are here to break down the latest NFL rumors and news. We're going to begin with Deshaun Watson, and I want to start with the trade-focused side. Then we'll get into the lawsuits here, Chase. Nick Caserio, the Texans GM, who in the past the Texans said, we're not going to trade Deshaun, kind of resetting their stance at least a little bit here.
Yeah, so that stance has changed over the last couple of weeks because at first it was, we are not entertaining any offers, we're not taking any calls, we are not trading Deshaun Watson. Mm-hmm. Now the tune has changed a little bit, Tom, where they're taking a wait-and-see approach. And everybody out there, us as fans, people who cover the league, executives across the NFL are also forced to take a wait-and-see approach because we don't know what is happening with Deshaun Watson in terms of the legality of the situation because lawsuits continue to pile in every day. So it is a wait-and-see approach, and isn't it crazy that a guy who a couple weeks ago had so much value across the league, looked at as a budding superstar, might not have a market at all, and his future in the NFL, this is not hyperbolic. It honestly might be in jeopardy. Like, that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how much things have changed around Deshaun Watson, how there's been so many various pivots and adjustments for Deshaun Watson. So I am super curious to see where this all ends up going. And from the trade perspective, what intrigues me the most is, can he even make a move for him right now? And this all goes hand in hand with the lawsuits, which I'll update again you guys here in just a second. It makes him almost an untouchable asset right now. And that's super concerning. Now, here's exactly what Nick Caserio had to say earlier in terms of today about Deshaun Watson, specifically when asked about a trade. I think we'll take it one day at a time, and everything is pretty fluid here. And ultimately, I think we'll do what we feel is best for the Houston Texans organizationally. He was pressed again and just said we'll do what's best for the organization. And that is especially noteworthy in light of even more lawsuits coming against Deshaun Watson. Now, 21 is now the number, a massive figure, Chase.
Yeah, and this entire process, as we know with legal situations, they tend to take a lot of time, especially as allegations continue to be made public and as these lawsuits just continue to pile up on Deshaun Watson's case. No NFL team right now is going to be able to trade for Deshaun Watson, knowing the severity potentially of the situation. Now, we all know the saying out there, Tom, it's innocent until proven guilty, so we're not going to jump to any conclusions. But when I read a piece yesterday, like Jenny Varentes's piece from Sports Illustrated, and that comes from a massage therapist who worked with Deshaun Watson, who did not file any lawsuits against him, and she makes it known that her story, the details of it, are pretty similar, if not identical, to the rest of the lawsuits. I just find it really hard to believe that none of it is true at all. Maybe a fraction, maybe a lot, I'm not sure, but who knows? It's just an insane situation right now.
The part of the world we live in right now is we got to make a snap judgment this moment.
Yeah.
I think the better course, especially in this type of situation, is let the whole thing play out, then we can make up our minds. I will make this note, though, not passing judgment any one way or the other. 21's a lot.
It is.
That's a lot of accusations for any one player. So with everything going on in mind with Deshaun Watson, make your predictions for me in the comment section. Will Deshaun Watson play for the Houston Texans in 2021? This question is the pinned comment on today's video. So get your votes in. Y for yes or N for no. All right, let's go to a more fun, lighter note then here, Chase. Aaron Rodgers is going to host Jeopardy starting next Monday.
So he's gone on with Pat McAfee really throughout the entire 2020 season, and he's continued to make those appearances. But before that, Aaron Rodgers was a guy who, when it comes to speaking to the media, he was very guarded. But I actually like what we're seeing from Aaron Rodgers from a personality sense over the last several months, because I think he's a really interesting dude, and I think he has a lot to bring to the table. Now, he grew up a huge fan of Jeopardy and Alex Trebek. He was one of his idols. So for Aaron Rodgers to be a multi-time Pro Bowler and an all-pro quarterback and a Super Bowl champion, a guy who's still at the peak of his powers, to now be succeeding off the field and maybe looking forward as to what he's going to do after his playing career is over, it's neat to look into that window. And I actually think Aaron Rodgers has displayed a personality where I'm excited to watch him host Jeopardy because I think he's going to bring a lot to the table.
Yeah, I think this is clearly I am setting myself up post-NFL career type of move here for Aaron Rodgers. I hope he wears the mustache, by the way, during this, which, of course, has already been taped, and they'll just air it starting April 5th. So do you guys watch Jeopardy? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Chase, you said you were going to watch it for Rodgers, but do you watch it in general?
I've watched it sparingly over the years. Okay. That's all I can give you. Here and there, if it's on or if I'm at a friend's house and they're watching it, I'll watch it, but I don't make Jeopardy appointment viewing. I will, though, when Aaron Rodgers hosts.
I am not going to tune in because I got other more important things to do, like, say, for example, NFL draft coverage on top of that. So that is something we're going to get to here in just a little bit. So a couple different notes in terms of what we have going on for you guys. Now, for starters, and I want to make this point clear too, we do have my latest NFL mock draft. That is currently up and available on the channel. You can go check it out, youtube.com/chatsportstv. And then I also want you guys to check out Mel Kiper's latest NFL draft big board. That is going to be available on the channel Thursday morning. So stay tuned for that. We'll break down the top 25 players and throw in some guys that Mel Kiper left off that I think are at least worth discussing as well. So the mock draft is already available, and then Mel Kiper's latest big board, we'll break that down, available noon Eastern on Thursday morning. Let's get to some Russell Wilson talk here. And, oh, look, the trade conversation is back. So ESPN's Dan Orlovsky says the Eagles trading down puts them right into the Russell Wilson conversation. I've got thoughts on this one, Chase, but I want to let you take the first crack at it.
So the Philadelphia Eagles as an organization, their infatuation with Russell Wilson started back in 2012. Current general manager Howie Roseman was in the building in the draft room with Andy Reid when the third round of the NFL draft came around. And the Eagles really wanted to draft Russell Wilson. They were obsessed with him, and they were about to pull the trigger and draft him, but what happened? The Seahawks moved up and nabbed Russell Wilson ahead of the Eagles, and the Eagles were left drafting Nick Foles. Now, it worked out for both organizations because Nick Foles has gone on to have one of the most fascinating careers of any quarterback of all time. Russell Wilson is an all-timer. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl, the franchise's only ring in the history of the franchise. So it's worked out for both sides, but that was the start of the Eagles' obsession with Russell Wilson, and that has not faded because what did they do last year in the second round of the draft, Tom? They drafted Jalen Hurts. Why? Because he reminded them of Russell Wilson.
Interesting. So the Eagles have plenty of draft assets this year and also next year, right? They have the number 12 overall pick via San Francisco this year. They have, of course, their own second-round pick, number 37 overall. 2 or 3 first-round picks next year, one from Miami, their own, and potentially one via the Colts based on what happens with Carson Wentz. So Orlovsky put together this idea. Jalen Hurts to Seattle plus those 3 firsts and one other maybe first-round pick from the Indianapolis Colts. Is this enough, Chase?
It's a lot of draft capital, and if Pete Carroll in his late 60s wants to rebuild and reset the franchise, maybe this is a deal that you look at. Now, what's interesting is if they do pull off this trade, they almost turn the clocks back to when they won their first Super Bowl with Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. Why is that? Because Jalen Hurts would still be on a rookie contract for a couple of years, and the Legion of Boom was thriving because Russell Wilson wasn't getting paid a monster contract, right? So if the Seahawks want to rebuild and reset, this deal makes sense for them. But I just don't see a reality in which Seattle deals away Russell Wilson. And the other thing to monitor, the Eagles were not on Wilson's trade list of destinations that he wanted to go to.
I think in the end, you guys get your votes in the comments as to who says no here. S for the Seahawks, E for the Eagles. I think pretty clearly the Seahawks say no. Because if you're moving on from Wilson with an older coach in Pete Carroll, you're trying to still win football games.
Yes.
You get multiple first-round picks, but you're picking 12, and you're picking with the Colts likely late first-round pick, if it is a first-round pick, mid to late. Same with Miami. Maybe Philadelphia is a top 10 pick, maybe, but if they have Russell Wilson, they're not going to be top 10. So it's 3 late firsts and Jalen Hurts. You don't have a franchise quarterback.
No.
So what is the purpose for Seattle then? Hurts and 4 first-rounders. If Philadelphia wanted Wilson, they would have been better served keeping that number 6 overall pick. Because then Seattle could have taken a Justin Fields or Trey Lance. So I actually completely disagree. If the mindset is, we're going to go get a quarterback in Russell Wilson, you would have been better served having that top 7 draft pick.
Yes.
And so from that perspective, I do not think it actually makes sense for Seattle. And in general, by the way, I don't think he's getting dealt. I don't think that happens right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I wouldn't make the deal if I was John Schneider and Pete Carroll. There's no way that I would try to swap Russell Wilson for Jalen Hurts knowing that I'm getting picks back. Like, the picks aren't enough for me. Now, a team like the Chicago Bears might make more sense than a trade partner like the Eagles. Why is that? Because you can get players and draft assets back. But to swap Russell Wilson for Jalen Hurts, you are completely rebooting your franchise. And I think the narrative of Pete Carroll not wanting to rebuild and reset at 68 years old is real. I know he's got that youthful exuberance to him, but he's still trying to win rings because he's still bitter about that second one that he let get away.
All right, so you guys can make your predictions now down there in the comments section. What is the percent chance that Russell Wilson plays for the Seahawks in the 2021 season? I'm going like 98%. Quick guess from you, Chase?
75.
Okay, you should have gone 69, but that's okay. Let us know what you guys think in the comments section. All right, some general NFL updates here for you guys around OTAs, organized team activities here. NFL's provided some updates. They can start phase 1, which is not the full padded practice or whatever. This is just strength and conditioning and rehab stuff. That can begin on April 19th. Now, what's noteworthy here, Chase, is A, it's going to likely be a virtual start. The expectation, though, is we get in-person workouts at some point as NFL players can work out at the facility, so whatever at that point.
Yeah.
But there is no early start for new head coaches.
Yeah.
That has changed from recent years. Some other teams dealt with that during camps and stuff in terms of not being able to start early. But we are trending towards a more normalized NFL offseason.
Yeah, and to add on to this, Roger Goodell also said yesterday he expects stadiums to be at full capacity. So the NFL salary cap in future years is probably going to skyrocket because of that. But Tom, the big winner with OTAs on the way, it's rookies. Last year, I think rookies were slow to get started, and a lot of them were behind the curve. Now, of course, you have examples of guys like Justin Herbert, who were able to really get playing time early after Tyrod Taylor got hurt, and he went on to have a historic season for rookie quarterbacks. But I think it's crucial for some of these rookies who are raw, who still need some developmental time, to have a more normal schedule to learn about the rigors and the challenges of the NFL. So phase 1 of OTAs, it's going to begin April 19th, the start of the NFL draft, April 29th, and then the start of training camps, which was huge last year because training camps were limited starting in mid-July. And not only does that help rookies, it helps us, because I know for me, my internal clock was all messed up last year, and it's been because the scheduling for everything was really thrown off because of the pandemic.
Obviously, those phases of OTAs, they go in, phases because I already gave it away, but they'll move to the first-year player stuff that you mentioned, of course, after the NFL draft. But this is a good sign for the NFL. You mentioned the whole fans in the stands as well. I think we'll have a more normal 2021 NFL season. Let's dive into the latest around the Miami Dolphins. Let's talk about Ja'Marr Chase. Fresh off his pro day where he had over a year to train for it, and Chase, he looked pretty darn good testing-wise.
I don't see a world where Ja'Marr Chase busts in this upcoming NFL draft. I think this guy is going to be a stud. And if you remember 2 years ago when LSU arguably put together the best single season in the history of college football, everybody remembers Justin Jefferson last year with the Minnesota Vikings thinking that he was the number 1 wide receiver on that LSU Tiger team in which Joe Burrow was dropping dimes to all these guys. But outside of Justin Jefferson, Joe Burrow was also lighting it up and throwing dimes to Ja'Marr Chase as well. We're talking about a guy who reminds me a lot of maybe a bigger Steve Smith, maybe a more quicker Anquan Bolden. I think he's going to be a stud. And you look at the numbers that he put up in 2019, Tom. Stupid video game numbers in a small sample size. We're not talking about a 16-game schedule here, okay? 84 receptions, 1,700 plus yards, 20 touchdowns, and his average yards per catch, 21.2. So not only is he big and physical, he's got an alpha dog mentality, but he's also got he's got the ability to stretch the field and take the top off of the defense as well.
I did just look at my notes on Ja'Marr Chase because I've finished up my easy round 1 grade, top 5, top 6, top 7, whatever you want to make him player there. My comp was Stephon Diggs.
I like that too, because he's bulky too. And Stephon Diggs has some of the best footwork in the NFL.
Of course, for Miami, you're trying to build around your franchise quarterback in Tua. I think they're clearly targeting offense after moving from 3 to 12 back up to 6. The potentiality of pairing Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, and Jamar Chase, and knowing you could give Chase some slot reps if you want him to, kind of like how the Cowboys gave CeeDee Lamb slot reps, that's appealing to me from an impact perspective.
Yeah, take the clamps off of Tua Tagovailoa. I think that was the Dolphins' plan in trading back this upcoming NFL draft. I think that signaled that trade last week that they were going to move forward with Tua. And if Tua has Devontae Parker and Will Fuller, Mike Gesicki, as well as Jamar Chase, or maybe a Kyle Pitts, my gosh, with Myles Gaskin in the backfield and an offensive line that is a little inexperienced but is growing, we're talking about a great opportunity for Tua to really prove himself. And I think when you look at the NFL draft order, it is realistic that Jamar Chase could slide to 6 if the Bengals don't take him at 5.
I think we all agree top 3 picks are going to be quarterbacks. Falcons could go quarterback or maybe offensive line or trade down or Kyle Pitts. Bengals feel like Jamar Chase or Penei Sewell, which would leave one of those guys then left for the Miami Dolphins. So I'm excited about Jamar Chase. I think he is my wide receiver 1 in this year's draft class, and he checked off all the boxes he wanted to with all that time to train. If he'd run like a 4.55, we all would have been freaking out, but didn't even run close to that there. So I do think Jamar Chase is going to be I see him going top 7 minimum. Worst case, the Lions take him. So what I want you guys to do in the comments, and I'll let Chase chime in here too in a second, who do you believe will end up drafting Jamar Chase? Will it be the Dolphins or somebody else? What do you think, Chase?
If the Bengals don't draft Penei Sewell, I think they take Chase. If Chase falls to Miami, I think they get him at 6.
So let us know what you guys think. Who will draft Jamar Chase in the 2021 NFL Draft?